government. So I thought it was very important to update you on the very intensive work that's happening at the moment. So the purpose is just to provide that summary of the national oversight of delayed discharge, and this was requested by the First Minister, that there would be a targeted, very intensive focus on delayed discharge. Basically, it was due to the fact that their delayed discharges were increasing, and they felt if there was not this targeted approach nationally before we go into winter, then winter was going to be very, very challenging indeed. You will see from the report that there is a weekly meeting. It's called the CRAG, and that is chaired by this Cabinet Secretary. And each authority has been given a target of that they need to reach, and the focus is that they don't over this target. For Aberdeen City, this equates to 20.8 per 100,000 of the population. So that means 45 is our kind of target, that we need to remain under 45 people delayed. The weekly group goes through each authority. So every chief officer for every partnership is represented. I myself are on the group representing the chief social work officers across the country. And there is three basically stages. So they have some authorities who have the higher numbers. They're in the major category. There is a moderate category, and then there's a low category. So Aberdeen City is in the low category, but every authority is highlighted in that weekly meeting. And the people who are in major, there is a spotlight on them in terms of what they're doing to remain. So the recommendation is just to note the report and to ask that we'll bring back an improvement plan back to the September meeting. So we are doing a lot of work across Grampian. One of the things the First Minister also commented on was a variance across the partnerships. So for us in Grampian, there is a variance in Grampian. So we are working together with Aberdeenshire and Moray around sharing good practice and actually what we can do collaboratively together to sustain improvements. So bringing back that improvement plan in September, and thereafter going through the Clinical Care Governance Committee, updating on our progress, and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah. Sorry, this is a really silly question. Maybe I've just got a brain fault, but could you just expand on what you say there is a variance within that?
No, there's a variance in Grampian.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, so what it means is, so in Aberdeen, our figures at the moment, so they are 45 for Aberdeen this week, but in Aberdeenshire that's over 100. And in Shires again is different. So they were keen, and this is what's seen all over the country. There's some authorities that are performing very, very well, and some that are performing their delayed discharges are very, very high. So they're trying to understand what is the differences, and in particular in Grampian, there's a huge variance between City, Shire, and Moray.
My apologies.
Yeah, no, don't.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, is this relating only to ARI, or is this Cornhill too?
It's across all hospital sites. So the Cornhill delays will come under our overall number. So 45 is ARI, Woodend, and Rosewell, and Cornhill.
Not seeing any more hands. Sorry. Sorry. Do we know why there's that variance? Is it maybe lack of step-down facilities in
I think there's a number of reasons. I think Aberdeen City, we have done a lot of work over the last couple of years. We put in, we funded quite substantially a huge amount of interim beds. So when we were in the really high demand, we funded that interim beds, as we also did a lot of work in terms of getting people home, working closely with our providers. Our need for interim beds reduced, and we were much more efficient. We've got a very good hospital social work team, and we aligned them to higher fed wards. We did, as I say, we did a lot of work with the providers. I think that's caused us to be quite a good rate of delays. Aberdeenshire, I think they've got a lot of difficulties in terms of the way they're geographically spread out. They don't have this. They went down a very different commissioning route from us. So we've got our Granite Care Consortium, you know, and we work very closely with them. I think in Aberdeenshire they took a different commissioning route. There's a number of reasons. They just from the meeting I had to step out to go to the crowd today. You know, they have a huge amount of people that are waiting for care homes. So we have much less because we try and get people home more. They have 40 people waiting for care homes in hospital. That's between hospital and their community hospitals. So it's different. But what we're trying to do by doing that collaborative approach is learn from each other. So they can learn from some of the things we have done. We can learn from some of the things that they've put in place and actually get that sustained improvement.
We could do have sort of extended it. Exit pathways as well, the sheltered housing guest rooms and the hospital at home. And it's also an alternative to being in hospitals. We have that, but the other authorities don't have that.
And the rules at the time of writing,
Hmm.
we need a reduction of one person.
Yeah.
How confident do you feel? One doesn't sound like a lot, but
I mean, in terms of, and you'll see this in the risks, the thing for me, which is going to be challenging is, and this is why we need the sustained improvement, and rather than just looking at the numbers every day, because I feel like the sand fills in, I can get down to our 45, but tomorrow there might be another 3 people go on as delayed. So it is looking, and this is why we can't see it as a social care issue and a social care response, because it's actually that whole system thing. So we need to be working with the hospital team, with the acute, with clinicians around that early discharge planning. Or if we don't do that, then we're just going to be looking every week. We went up, we went down, we went up, and it just seems that we need to, for sustained improvement, it needs to be a whole system shift. So actually, at the point of admission is when you start their discharge planning. And this is why the team are looking at the PDD, which is a predicted date of discharge. Actually, that should be an MDT decision and not just the ward saying, right, I think they'll be ready on this date. And then that date, they refer them to social work and then they're delayed. So it's actually just fundamentally changing that whole process.
And also sort of going upstream of that to prevent admission in the first place.
So there's
a lot of work to tie up.
So there is a risk because it, as I say, it does purely go on how many people we will have tomorrow, next week. So it's staying at the 45 is going to be a challenge, or below, because we want it below. We want to go as low as possible. But it's people that we're talking about, complex people. It's difficult, but I will say we are on the low. And there is a lot of other authorities who have got a huge amount of work to get to where we are. But we just need to continue the good work we've done and sustain that improvement.
and is there anything you need from the board?
Sure.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Chair. Obviously, this is coming from the Clinical Care Governance Committee, and
Yeah.
I think I look forward to that coming forward.
Yeah.
I suppose I return a little bit to my point at the start of the Chief Executive Report with regards to the risk in interim care home places being reduced. So are we in a good place because they've been there, and therefore we have to monitor how that progresses as we go forward. So yeah, I think we will be looking forward to this report coming soon.
Yeah, and the interim beds is something, see, we've seen the reduction in the need for interim beds because we'd worked the way we work differently, getting people home and support them to go home. The problem with the interim beds is, if we see an increased demand, especially when we get into winter, if we've not got the right processes, then I think the impact is we might need to go out and get interim beds, but I don't want that to be the answer all the time of relying on that interim bed. It's actually we need to change the whole system, that you won't have the need for interim beds. There will always be a case where we will be, that's why we still have a small number of beds just for that very small amount of people that will need it.
We'll just be watching. That's all.
Yeah.
I've got Judith online and then Christine online. So ringing Judith first.
Thank you. So just to add on that other layer from a mental health and learning disability lens, there are a number, probably 3 to 4 pathways specific that have really got quite complex needs. We've already acknowledged the forensic pathway and the need to identify that within the market position statement a bit more. But we've also got the learning disabilities, we've got the acquired brain injury and the elderly mentally infirm dementia access. And of course, the hospital admits from City, Shire, Murray, Shetland and Orkney. So the need for us will be to work with all partnerships and looking at our delayed discharges. And we've just come from the cross-system strategic delivery team meeting, and it's clear that there's a lot of activity going on through the mental health portfolio in Aberdeenshire. And there'll be a need for us to kind of take that Grampian view from a mental health perspective and not just a city view. So it might be just, we need to clarify how to report that.
Thanks for that additional info. And I've got Christine online.
Hi, thank you. My thoughts are about the gap analysis. With regard to, obviously it's very different at the moment compared to what it would be in the middle of winter, and I think that looking at each IJB's gap analysis, particularly in both times of the year, might be quite useful as well. I do recognise that we need to compare good practice, but I do think that might be quite useful as well, because there may be a lot of strain at one time of the year with one particular IJB compared to another. I don't know if that's actually already been reviewed at all. I'd be keen to understand if it has.
So I think the answer is, from our point of view, no. Nationally, I'm not sure I could ask that question at Crag. I think what you were saying is to map out what look at the trajectories at each different points of the year between summer and winter. Is that what I picked up on, Christine? Apology.
Yes, indeed. I'm so sorry. I haven't got my camera on because I've got COVID, and I don't particularly want everybody to see me as I am. So, yes, that's exactly.
Yeah, and it's a good point. And one of the things that we're actually seeing today, the Cabinet Secretary was saying that, you know, we're seeing a huge demand at the moment in the middle of summer. We're seeing huge COVID numbers at the moment. So actually, what is the difference between now summer and then going into winter? Does it increase or does it stay the same? So I think there's definitely something, and myself and Fiona and Fraser have spoke about that there's something around how we use our data in Aberdeen in terms of what has been, you know, the increase in people leaving hospital that need care. What does that look like from what it was a year ago or 2 years ago? So really looking at our data to understand that. And using that in terms of what we can predict our demand is going to be potentially. I don't know if that answers your question, but yes, it's something we need to look at, I think is what I'm trying to say.
I think some of that will come out as well with the work across the other 2 partnerships. You know, something that we'll look at as well.
I mean, data is a huge amount. So they have actually got a work stream under the Crag that is looking at the performance and what is the kind of indicators and measures they need to look at. So one of the work they're doing just now nationally is around this predicted date of discharge and how different boards are complying with that and making that more multidisciplinary. So it's not just a person on the ward saying, oh, I think you'll be fit on this date. It's actually really doing that multidisciplinary. But one of the things is the performance and measures is in trying to get a robust I suppose dashboard in place around this, and obviously comparing to what the changes are in terms of delayed discharges, but also looking at what is your unscheduled care, a lot of work on admission avoidance, and actually how do we map out that in terms of the changes. So yeah, a lot of work on performance.
Any more hands? Not seeing any. Are we happy to agree the recommendations? Agreed. Thank you very much. So what else? That just brings us to, before I forget, when I was doing the hellos and goodbyes at the start of the meeting, I forgot to mention that it's the Morrison's last day in the office, which moves fast as new. So wish her well for the future. And then that just brings us to the dates of the upcoming meetings and seminars. So topic specific seminar on the 3rd of September. And then we've got, sorry, that one's on annual performance report, Microsoft and Strategic Risk Register. And then on the 17th of September, we've got culture, new strategic plan, code of conduct, air support contract, and the budget setting protocol. But might need to swap one of those out for the item on the market position paper. And that, I think. Date's the next IJB meeting, sorry. Date's next IJB meeting is the 24th of September. So we're going to be very busy in September. And thank you all very much for attending and for your contributions. So it's done. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.